Hello and welcome to another Bear Beer review. Tonight we're going to be sampling some beers from Yorkshire. We're going to go for Saltaire Brewery in Shipley and their Raspberry Blonde. Now I saw this, I thought, ooh, I've got to get my teeth on this for a couple of reasons. One, I've tried the Saltaire Blonde, which is like their biggest selling beer, the one they made their brewery on. I thought it's a pretty stonking good blonde, that one. So that, and the fact that it's also got raspberries put in it, which is the twist that's been put on this beer. And also on the back as well, it even tells you the hops and the malt and the percentages that they've used, which I think is a fantastic thing. It almost kind of makes me want to go and do a homebrew version of it. So they used low colour pearl malt, 85%, torrefied wheat, 10%, and caramel malt, 5%, and they're using SARS hops for bitterness and aroma. So that's all it is. It's quite a simple blend, and then also obviously they've got this raspberry popped in the back end there. Now their tasting notes on the back here say a creamy blonde ale with a flavour of biscuit, malt, spicy hops and fruit. An infusion of raspberry flavours gives a subtle experience of raspberries on the nose and on the palate. So without further ado, let's crack this fella open and see what it's got. Now Saltaire are based in Shipley and they've got a really nice old Victorian building, which is the one that you can see, I think it's pretty much is the one you can see on the bottle there. It's all Victorian. If they've got a little video on YouTube. Oh, by the way, Dark Star Glass that managed to get a GBBF, which I think is pretty cool. They've got this Victorian building. It's a really beautiful kind of industrial setting where they've got their bar, and I've been there once before, and it was absolutely wonderful. Didn't give it a very good pour there, but there you go. It is a fantastic golden colour, just slightly deeper, maybe a tiny bit of amber popping in there. Fizzing away nicely. It's quite a lot of carbonation, not much in the way of head. If I give it a bit more vigorous pour, I'm sure it'd give a nice finger head, but it is sticking around for the ride, that's for sure. I can smell raspberry straight off the bat. It almost smells Belgian fruit beer-esque without the kind of sour twinge to it. And there's definitely a spiciness underneath it as well. There's a smell of hop coming from underneath the raspberry blanket. But as I kind of expected, it was always going to be a bit dominated by the raspberry aroma, at least. So without further ado, it smells wonderful. It smells great for a nice hot sunny day, that's for sure. Let's get in there and give it a try. Cheers. Oh yeah, it's a lot more subtle on the palate. So initially, what you're getting is a very quite distinct biscuity malt flavour. A tiny bit of wheat in there too, and then it kind of washes into a nice gentle hot bitterness, and you're definitely getting the SARS. It's spicy and almost kind of floral, and then just over everything there's this overall tangible level of sweetness and a little bit of a raspberry twinge, and it's definitely not overpowering. If I was to go by smell alone, I'd say I was expecting, if I had a blindfold on especially, I would say like, oh, it's probably a Belgian fruit beer, and I would expect it to be bright purple or raspberry coloured, I guess, not a blonde colour as it is. So the raspberry flavour is a lot more subtle, but in a good way in my opinion. It says on the back, you know, and its own tasting notes, they're not going for something too OTT, and this definitely isn't OTT. Very subtle, but lovely. It gives this, I don't know how to describe it, it kind of lifts everything, gives it an extra little bit of an edge, a little bit of sweetness, and it makes it lighter almost. It makes it feel a little bit more summery and fruity and just a little bit more drinkable. Although I'm sure, and having tried their blonde, it is extremely drinkable. It's very nice, and I can see this is kind of, you know, the base is a Saltaire blonde with maybe a few little bits of tweaks or additions, I'm sure. It's really nice though. It's definitely hugely drinkable. It's got a nice chunky medium mouthfeel. And the carbonations, particularly from this bottle, is a lot harsher than I remembered it. But I'm sure that's by the by. It's not hugely a problem. Nice chunky medium mouthfeel. Feels big and chunky and wet. Nice malt body. Nice little bit of spiciness from hops. A good level of bitterness as well. And this extra sweet drinkability from the raspberries that's been added in. Overall, it is a very pleasant brew. The only thing I've got, perhaps I might say I'm not too hugely keen on, is that it does seem a little bit maybe a little bit too reserved in terms of malt and hop flavours, so I'm getting it feels big and watery in the mouth, with this kind of, the main dominating flavours being, I don't know, it's kind of an equal blend of all three flavours. You know, it's a very balanced beer, but everything just needs a little bit of, everything just needs a little bit of level raising just to make it a really knockout beer. That would really level it up. But in terms of a sessionable blonde, this is absolutely wonderful and spiffing. I could have several pints of this, no problem at all. So, in terms of rating, I think I'd give it a really good 8.5 out of 10. It's certainly extremely drinkable. I'm liking the way it's balancing flavour-wise. I like the fact that the raspberries even aren't overpowering and don't dominate this beer. It's distinctly a beer with this little twinge of raspberries on the side of it. The only thing is, as I said, it comes across as only slightly very watery. If it was and I'm not entirely sure how you do it either, which is good for a guy who's just taking up a job as a brewer, but still got a lot to learn. Just something about it just needs a little bit more oomph, just a little bit more oomph, and it would be a really knockout beer. But I can certainly have several of these. Very good job, enjoying it a lot. I forgot to mention ABV, as I always do. It's 4%. Wonderful little fella, liking it a lot. Try Saltaire's beers, they are good. They're the standard blonde I rate, and if I saw it on a bar I'd definitely have a pint of it. And until next time, thank you ever so much, and I'll see you in the next Baby Reviews. Cheers.